I created this clay from Springworth, and today's going to be a little bit different to our usual crafting videos because I've decided I am a quilter and I need then a design wall. So I actually bought this king size single flannel sheet from the charity shop. It was $8, brand new in the box, and I've gone ahead and washed it, and you can see all that fluffy makes your quilt stick. So what I've done, I've come through and I've started putting the buttonholes on. And what I'm going to do is I've got some of these clear clips, sticky back hooks, not clips, and I'm going to put these on this. I have this huge expanse of wardrobes, which I love, don't get me wrong, but it's very wide. And sometimes I like that in the background, but sometimes, you know, I want to utilise that space. So I'm going to put these hooks along the top, only really as high as I can reach, because there's no point it being to the very ceiling because I can't do anything with that space. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to place them along at intervals. They're clear, so you can still see them, but it doesn't look quite as weird as having a white one. And then I'll be able to hook this up, and I'm going to do both ways. So I'm going to do along the narrow edge, and then I'm going to do along the long edge because it is still quite long. It's not going to be perfect for making a king size quilt, obviously, but they're not really the projects I like to take on. So I'm going to cut the buttonholes. I'll show you how I do the buttonholes on my machine because it's so easy. And then I'm going to put the hooks up, and I'm going to stick this up, and I'm going to see. I'm going to need a project to put on the design wall, so that's a really good excuse to start a new sewing project. I'm just putting these at kind of an equal distance regularly along. I'm not going to have this many hooks. This will allow me to make slightly different arrangements. And all I'm doing is putting the two together. I started end to end, and then I'll put a little water erasable dot, and then I have the button foot on my machine, and I've just got it set on the smallest from the back. And don't forget to put this bit down. I did forget to do that the first time. I had to go back to the manual and figure out the error. And then I've got it set on 17, which is kind of a rounded end buttonhole, and then my machine does pretty much all the work. Tell me when it's finished, hands free, and then just trim the excess. And there we have a buttonhole. I'm just going to snip out the center. I'm going to fold the sheet kind of in half, and then with the small scissors I'm just going to make a quick snip, obviously trying to avoid the stitches, and then I'll just get in and finish off that buttonhole. I'm honestly not that worried about how this looks. This is going to be hung up over there, high out of visibility. And then this should just slot on here like that, and it's just going to look like that at the top. It's extremely exciting to look at, particularly in this lovely shade of grey, but it's up. This is in the portrait orientation and it is too long, and rather than overcomplicating things, to be honest, I think I'm just going to use a safety pin up the bottom edge. It works because it's covered in loose threads already, but if you took a square, this is from the rainbow charm quilt left over, it most definitely works. It's not hard at all to get things to stick up. These are my leftovers. Will it stay up for weeks on end? I don't know, but I don't necessarily need it to do that. I have put hooks along to be able to have it in landscape orientation, bit of a juggle, getting things in the right spot. But I'm happy with that. $8. I had the hooks in the cupboard already. I'm excited to try it. Definitely need a project because the rainbow quilt is already pieced. So I'll have to find something else to play with an arrangement. I'm very excited for this. I have a few of these, so I might need to do a little project with the kind of muted tones that are left over. Grey probably wouldn't have been my first choice, but what I really like is I'm going to be able to take this down if people come and visit and they want to use this room for something else. And, you know, I can slide the doors around so you don't have to see if I'm working on a secret quilt project in the background of my videos. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have a project in mind, home improvement is probably new to the channel, but go ahead and have a go, because this could well change my quilting life. I'll see you next week.